Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Training camps have just got underway. We are one more day from the NHL preseason. That's right. NHL preseason kicks off tomorrow with only one game on the slate, with the St. Louis Blues taking on the Dallas Stars. We'll get into a preseason preview segment of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast later on throughout this episode, so make sure that you stay tuned in for that. Other announcements, I just wanted to let you guys know that I still am trying to get a prospects video out on the TG Hockey channel, whether that be a ranking prospects video or, just talking about and reviewing some of the prospects videos, wherever it be that, I'm still going to get one out, or it could be both, so make sure that you stay tuned in for that. And another thing, if you are new to the podcast, if this is your first time listening, first time that you heard of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast, make sure to follow the Hockey Talk with TG podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube channel and hit that notification bell, and make sure that you are following our audio platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, so you won't miss an episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. We are with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time, 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So again, make sure to hit that notification bell, smash that subscribe button if you will, so you don't miss any episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. We got more good episodes on the way just like this, especially since hockey season is now 2-3 weeks away. I'm going to say 2 weeks away from the or 3 weeks away from the NHL regular season. Preseason kicks off tomorrow. This is the podcast where you want to be at for all your latest hockey news and in-depth analysis. So again, strongly advise you to follow the Hockey Talk with TG podcast so you don't miss any episode that comes out. And as you guys see, I am wearing my Chicago Cubs hat because the Cubs are now in the 2025 MLB playoffs. I like the Cubs and White Sox. I don't really like one or the other. I am a huge Chicago sports fan. As you guys all know, you should be listening to this podcast long enough. That I'm a huge Chicago sports fan, and I'm a Chicago boy, so. And I'm happy that the Cubs made the 2025 MLB playoffs. Maybe they'll win the World Series, give Chicago sports the sparks, as all of our Chicago sports teams are kind of suck and we haven't won anything in a while. So hopefully the Cubs will give us a spark and they'll win the World Series for the first time since 2016. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the NHL news for today. So this came out yesterday. Anze Kopitar announced that he was going to retire after the 2025-26 NHL season. He said that he wanted to make the decision public before the season starts, so it won't become a distraction later on throughout the season. He also emphasized about family considerations, so he's thinking about his family, thinking about his wife and kids, and he decided that after this season, it's going to be it for him. He's going to hang up the skates. He also mentioned that he plans to give everything in his willpower, if you will, in his final year, and hopefully the LA Kings can win the Stanley Cup, especially now that they got Corey Perry on the team, which, again, I'm still surprised at because Corey Perry played for the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks have a rivalry with the LA Kings and San Jose Sharks. So I don't know how Ducks fans feel about Corey Perry being on the LA Kings because, the California rivalry. I want to see that game where the Kings play the Ducks at the Honda Center. I want to see the Ducks fans will boo Corey Perry or maybe just cheer him on. I don't know what that game will feel like. But anyway, Anze Kopitar also mentioned that this 2025-26 NHL season will be his quote-unquote last ride, and he wants to leave it on a high note. He wants to give everything that he has in his final season. This will be his 20th NHL season with the LA Kings. This is the only team that he's played for throughout his NHL career. He has not played for any other NHL team, just the LA Kings. And Anze Kopitar is in the final year of a 2-year contract extension he signed with the LA Kings back in July 2023. And again, he spent his entire NHL career with the LA Kings from his debut in the NHL in 2006-2007 season all the way now to the 2025-26 NHL season. Serving as a great veteran leader, loyalty to the Kings, not going to play for any other team and stuff like that. He's always played for LA. His heart will remain in LA, and I'm pretty sure LA Kings fans will miss him once he hangs up the skates. But take a look at his career stats and accolades with the LA Kings. He had 1,278 points in 1,454 games, 440 goals, 838 assists for 1,278 points in 1,454 games played. With the LA Kings, he's first in games played and assists. He's third in goals, second in points. He's done it all with LA. 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the LA Kings, winning the Stanley Cup in 2012 and 2014. He was not captain of the Kings at the time when he won those 2 Stanley Cups. Of course, the captain at the time was Dustin Brown, who's already retired. And Anze Kopitar, he's been captain of the LA Kings since 2016. So again, wasn't captain at the time when he won those 2 Stanley Cups. But again, still a great player for the LA Kings nonetheless. He's also a 2-time Selke Trophy winner, winning the award in 2016 and 2018. 3-time Lady Byng Trophy winner, winning the award in 2016, 2023, and 2025. Won the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award in 2021-22 season. And my thoughts on this, I sure am going to miss Kopi being in the league. Great player to watch, great veteran to watch in the league. I know the Kings and the Blackhawks, we had our battles in the 2013 and 2014 Western Conference Finals. I was so upset that Alex Martinez scored the game-winning goal in Game 7 2014 Western Conference Finals to eliminate my Chicago Blackhawks. Even though he did play for the Blackhawks, he's now retired. I was so upset about that. But at least we won the Stanley Cup a year later in 2015. So, yeah, we kind of had our battles in the 2013-2014 Western Conference Finals, but it was good playing against Anze Kopitar and the LA Kings. The LA Kings team was really good at the time. They're hoping to get back into the Stanley Cup Finals. And hopefully Anze Kopitar will lead the Kings there, win the Stanley Cup. Before he hangs up the skates. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying maybe Kings fans hope to see that happen before he hangs up the skates. So I just wanted to make that clear. But moving on from one Pacific Division team and player to another Pacific Division team and player, and Michael Backlund, as he signs a 2-year contract extension with the Calgary Flames on Wednesday. The extension will kick off at the start of the 2026-27 season. It will run through the end of the 2027-28 NHL season. Michael Backlund is entering the final year of a 2-year, $9 million contract deal that he signed in 2023 before this extension will kick in. Michael Backlund has played 17 seasons with the Calgary Flames. I think he's played with the Flames I don't think he's played for any other team, though. I think he's always played for Calgary. He's currently the team's captain. He had 563 points in 1,066 games played with the Flames in his career. 215 goals, 348 assists for 563 points in 1,066 games played with the Flames. And last season, he had 32 points in 76 games with the Flames. Last season, 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points in 76 games played with the Flames last season. And of course, I did want to say this. I can see the Flames somewhat being on the board of making a wild card spot. I'm not sure if I see them as a playoff team. I don't really see Calgary making the playoffs this year. They could be on the board on being in the wild card spot, but they'll miss out on the playoffs. I did do a ranking video about this on the TG Hockey channel, so to those who have missed the video, make sure to go check that out as you will. But moving on to the Blackhawks, as the Blackhawks sign Wyatt Kaiser to a 2-year contract deal on Wednesday. This decision comes just 24 hours before the training camp has started. So this happened on Wednesday night when this contract was signed. It didn't happen Wednesday afternoon. It sure didn't happen Wednesday morning. It happened Wednesday night. So last minute deal to get the contract in for Wyatt Kaiser before the training camp kicked off on Thursday. This contract will run through the 2026-27 NHL season with the same cap hit in both years, a $1.7 million contract deal. And taking a look at the stats that he had for the Blackhawks last season, he had 8 points in 57 games played with the Hawks last season, 4 goals, 4 assists for 8 points in 57 games played. He also set career highs in blocked shots with 93 and hits with 54. And like most Blackhawks fans, I see Wyatt Kaiser. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. I see Wyatt Kaiser as a bottom 4 defenseman. Like, I don't see him as a top 4. He could work his way up to being a top 4 defenseman. But like most Blackhawks fans, I see him as a bottom 4 defenseman. He'll be playing that bottom 4 role. And of course, the Blackhawks already have a young defense group with Alex Vlasic, Artem Lechesnov, Stan Mazel, Kevin Kosinski, and many others to name. So Wyatt Kaiser and some of the Blackhawks, they're going to be trying making those roster spots for opening night. They're going to be gunning for those roster spots, making sure that they're on the opening night roster. So, and I was listening to the Chicago Sports Network podcast, the Blackhawks one, where Jeff Blashill had the Blackhawks on their knees. I'm just rephrasing it in my own words. Like, Jeff Blashill had the Blackhawks on their knees. And I think I saw an ESPN article where it was saying that, like, the Blackhawks were tired. Like, he was really coaching them. Making sure that they, boost up the young talent skills. Like, it kind of reminded me of John Tortorella, because John Tortorella, when he first coached the Flyers players were looking very tired in practice afterwards. That's how the Blackhawks were with Jeff Blashill. So he really, and I think I heard this from somewhere, that he wanted this team to be ready to go from day one. Like, no games, no any of that stuff. All business, hands down. And that's what Jeff Blashill did in the Blackhawks opening camp. Again, none of the people that I heard or listened to said this. I'm rephrasing this in my own words, saying how I see it from my point of view. So, yeah. And I think that's the type of coaching that you need, especially if you're a team that's looking to get back into playoff contention. So, if that was me as a player, would I be tired? Yes. Do we need this kind of coaching? Yes, because I'm pretty sure all Hawks fans, including myself, want to see the Blackhawks back into playoff hockey. This team has been doing not so good for so many years. We have not made the playoffs since 2020. We're looking to get back into playoff contention, and we are all gas, no brakes. We are locked in for this upcoming season. I'm hoping the Blackhawks could do slightly better than they did last season. So, yeah, I really like this group. Of course, going into the last season, we had a veteran group, Seth Jones, Taylor Hall, Pat Maroon. But now it's the young guys taking over. And this is what I love to see in a rebuild. So, I'm really confident in the Blackhawks going into this season. I believe that they'll have a slightly improved record from last season. I believe the young players like Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, Oliver Moore will take charge of this young group. And, yeah, I'm just really excited for this season. I'm confident that the Blackhawks will do slightly better than they did last season. And The goaltending, I'm really confident in the goaltending. I'm not sure where Laurent Brossoit is at right now. He's still injured, according to reports that I saw. Excuse me. He's still injured, according to reports that I saw. So, I don't even know if he's ever going to suit up in a Blackhawks uniform. But if he doesn't, I'm cool with it because I believe in our goaltending. I believe this is going to work out well. The duo of Spencer Knight and Arvis Soderblom is going to click just like that. And besides, Laurent Brossoit is a veteran goaltender, which we don't really need a whole lot of veterans on the team. Just this young roster, this young talent on display, and I believe that we'll do good at the end. But anyway, that wasn't the only move that the Blackhawks made. They did actually sign a veteran. They signed veteran defenseman Matt Grizzly to a PTO contract deal. Now, just a heads up, like I said on the episode of my Hockey Talk TG podcast when I was talking about Marc-Andre Fleury, this is not a guaranteed full contract. So just like I said when I talked about Marc-Andre Fleury signing a PTO contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins, just like I said in that episode, check that episode if you missed it, this is not a guaranteed full contract. He is not officially going to play for the Chicago Blackhawks. What this contract will do, it will allow him to attend the Blackhawks training camp and try on a roster spot on the team. And I'm surprised that the Blackhawks has signed him. I'm even surprised to see that he was still on the market after, a 40-point season last year. Like, I was surprised to see him on the market. I was even more surprised to see the Blackhawks sign him. And Elliot Friedman did tweet this out as well, saying that he was also surprised that the Blackhawks signed him. But he was available all summer as a UFA, unrestricted free agent, to those who don't know what that stands for. And he wasn't signed until this PTO offer. But yeah, like I mentioned already, he had 40 points in 82 games played with the Penguins last season. 1 goal, 39 assists for 40 points in 82 games played with the Penguins last season. This is the first time in his career that he has hit the 40-point mark. But given his offensive upside, there could be some speculation that he could contribute to the Blackhawks, especially on the power play, like he did well with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And take a look at the Blackhawks' defensive depth. They already have, like I said before, several young defensemen and players competing for roster spots for opening night. So it's going to be tough, but I'm pretty sure each player will have to earn it, and earn it they will, for them to be on the opening night roster. If it doesn't work out well, they can go to Rockford or, I don't know, be traded to another team. But we'll just have to see how this goes with Matt Grizzly. The pros and cons of this. Pros, it's veteran experience. He has the offensive ability from the back end. And the cons will be the size. He's not that big of a guy. Less physicality. And concerns with the plus-minus group. So I don't know how I feel about the signing. I mean, we already have a veteran defenseman in Connor Murphy, who I believe is the longest tenured Blackhawk on this team. So I'm not sure if we needed to sign Matt Grizzly, but we'll just have to see how everything goes when the Blackhawks play their first preseason game, which I believe will be September 23rd against the Detroit Red Wings. But now we're going to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, as they are reportedly trying to sign Michael McLeod, who was one of the 5 players involved in the 2018 Team Canada sexual assault case. There was multiple reports saying that he will sign a contract with the Carolina Hurricanes. And the NHL has restated him and the other 4 players, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, Alex Formington, and Cal Foote, those other 4 players, and Michael McLeod, that they can now return to the NHL. They can sign a contract starting October 15. They may begin training, conditioning with a team on November 15, and then they'll officially make their return to the NHL on December 1st of 2025. Now, I know there was some mixed emotions. I know fans are saying, "Oh, this could be good, this could be bad." There was mixed emotions about these 5 players coming back into the NHL. Of course, during this offseason, all these 5 players were found not guilty in the sexual assault case and making their return to the NHL. So I'm not going to speak too much on this. I know there was some mixed emotions. I know some of my friends were saying I don't know how they feel about those 5 players coming back to the NHL. Then there was some other people online that I heard. So I'm not going to get too much into this, but just wanted to make that clear that the 5 players involved in this case are now going to come back to the NHL. They'll officially make their return in December. They can sign contracts with a team starting October 15th and other stuff like that. So we'll just have to see how everything will go with this. I know the NHL also said in a statement that I think they said what those 5 players did was woefully wrong and not the right standards with the league. They said something like that. But we'll just have to see how everything will go. None of these 5 players currently have NHL contracts. Obviously, they are still free agents, but they could officially start signing contracts with the team that they want to in October. There was a lot of rumors going around that Carter Hart may sign a contract with the Edmonton Oilers just to help out with their goaltending. Not sure if that will officially happen, but if that would, that could be somewhat of a bonus because, as I said before on the Hockey Talk with TG podcast, that the main reason why the Oilers lost in the Stanley Cup Final this year was because of their goaltending. That was the main reason why they lost. At least that's what I felt like. I don't know how you guys feel about if that was the main reason why they lost, but to me, that was the main reason why. Their goaltending absolutely sucked. So I'm pretty sure they're looking to reamp their goaltending, and I believe adding a solid player in Carter Hart will do the trick. Or maybe he resigns back with Philly. We'll just have to see how everything will go with these 5 players and them officially coming back to the NHL. But again, not going to get too much into detail about that. I'm just telling you guys what I heard, what other fans think. So yeah. But anyway, we're gonna get into the NHL preseason preview. So, like I said at the start of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast, like I said at the start of this episode, the 2025-26 NHL preseason will kick off this Saturday, September 20th. The NHL preseason is coming back tomorrow. We're having hockey come back. Even though that it's the preseason, it's still hockey. It's still NHL hockey. And I have to say that I'm really excited to see some hockey game, even if it's the preseason. Regular season is 2-3 weeks away. And yeah, again, it's been a long off season. It's been a boring off season. And I'm excited to see some NHL hockey again. So without further ado, let's get started into this preseason preview segment of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. So again, preseason starts tomorrow, Saturday, September 20th. It'll only be one game on the slate for the NHL preseason, with the Central Division showdown between the St. Louis Blues and Dallas Stars. Puck drop is at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Game will air on NHL Network. And there's going to be 104 preseason games over a span of 15, 16 days. And some of these games will not be held at the NHL Teams Arena. Some of these teams will be held in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Bakersfield, California, Boise, Idaho, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Ontario, California, Orlando, Florida, and Quebec City. Some of these games will also be split squad games, so you'll see these two teams with different players playing 2 games at once. So, for an example, Florida, I think Sunday, the Panthers and Predators play twice. That's because it's a split squad game. So some of the players on the Florida Panthers and Predators will play first, and then the other players from the Panthers and Predators will play next. So that's what a split squad game is to those who were wondering, why do the Predators and Panthers play on the same day? Why are these two teams playing on the same day? It's because it's a split squad game. It's the same thing with the Avalanche and Mammoth, because on Sunday I think those two teams play each other twice, with the Mammoth playing in Colorado, and then I think some of the Colorado Avalanche players playing in Utah, taking on Utah Mammoth. Things to watch and storylines of preseason. With this preseason, with many roster spots being open for this preseason, this is a great chance for these young players, rookies, and players to make themselves well known. I can't think of the word I want to say. To make themselves well known. And for the goalies, you got to expect the goaltenders to get started early. Veterans and backups will likely be tested because these teams want to see safe play, rebound control, and handle how well goalies handle the preseason rush. Like, how will they be in the preseason? Excuse me. Take a look at special teams. You got to expect special teams. Coaches will likely spend time in the preseason working out power play, penalty kill units, trying out different combinations, groups, stuff like that before the regular season starts. And these early games will be about shaking off rust for like injuries and conditioning. Expect players to be recovering from the long off season and getting back into NHL form. So those are some couple storylines to expect from this NHL preseason. Hopefully I explained that well enough for you guys. But take a look at the NHL preseason games for this weekend. So of course, Saturday, September 20th, starting the NHL preseason. There's only one game on the slate with St. Louis Blues taking on the Dallas Stars at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Game will air on NHL Network. And then for Sunday, 15 games on the slate. Usually you wouldn't see 15 games on the slate for Sunday. But hey, it's the preseason, not the regular season. Got the New York Rangers taking on the New Jersey Devils at 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That'll be a rivalry matchup to watch. Game will air on NHL Network. And then you got the first split squad game of the Florida Panthers taking on the Nashville Predators at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time, followed by the Battle of Ontario, the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Ottawa Senators at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the first split squad game between the Colorado Avalanche and Utah Mammoth, Central Division Showdown right there, coming on at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. And then we got another Central Division Showdown between the Minnesota Wild taking on the Winnipeg Jets at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That game will air on NHL Network after the Devils and Rangers preseason game. Then we got the St. Louis Blues taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the Washington Capitals taking on the Boston Bruins at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the Anaheim Ducks taking on the LA Kings at 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the second and final game of the day between the Florida Panthers and Nashville Predators, so the other split squad game, coming on at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then we got the Philadelphia Flyers taking on New York Islanders at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Metro Division Showdown right there. And then the Battle of Alberta, this will be another split squad game with the Flames taking on the Oilers at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The other split squad game will be the Oilers taking on the Flames at the Scotiabank Saddledome at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the other half of the group, Flames and Oilers, will be at Rogers Place, still coming on 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then a Pacific Division Showdown, another Pacific Division Showdown, I should say, between the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Seattle Kraken. I'm pretty sure these two teams will develop some kind of a rivalry, since not only do they play in the same division, but also Vancouver is just north of the border from Seattle. So Seattle, Vancouver, you have to cross the border to go there. So I'm pretty sure that not only because these two teams play in the same division, but also since Vancouver and Seattle are close to each other, there'll be somewhat of a rivalry. But this game will come on at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then another Pacific Division Showdown, the VGK taking on the VGK Vegas Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. That comes on 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And then the second and last split squad game of the Utah Mammoth taking on the Colorado Avalanche at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I know that was a lot of games right there. I said 16 games to watch for this weekend. But if you guys didn't hear some of the games I said, you can look this up on the NHL website. I know that was a lot right there. If I had to listen to myself say those too many games, I would be somewhat confused or something like that. Or I don't know how I feel. I know that was a lot though. But that's the good thing because hockey is coming back. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to follow the Hockey Talk with TG podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Hit that notification bell if you will. We're with you guys every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time, 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. each time. So hit that notification bell, smash that subscribe button on YouTube, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio so you won't miss an episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. And other notes before we end today's episode. Monday, September 22nd is the first day of fall. So, of course, we do the Hockey Talk TG podcast on Mondays. So that'll be the first fall episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast that I will do. And we are 2 weeks away from the 2025-26 NHL regular season. So 2-3 weeks away from the 2025-26 NHL regular season. So it's coming fast. Plenty of reasons right now to get excited if you're a huge hockey fan or maybe a casual hockey fan. Plenty of reasons to get excited. Hockey's coming back. And yeah, the off season is over. Preseason is rolling. And then we'll get the regular season coming soon. Both of you guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Keep God first as always. Be blessed. I'll see you guys Monday, the first day of fall 2025 for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.